happening at NCI. I'm your host, Olivia Garrett, and today we have with us two special guests, Mike and Melinda Ward, and they are from the Martinsville-Henry County Chapter of the National Alliance on Mental Illness. Hi, Mike and Melinda. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, Olivia. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. We like to start off our episode with introductions, learning a little bit more about who our guests are. So, Mike and Melinda, can you give us a little bit about yourselves and what you like to do generally in the community?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Michael Ward, and we've lived here 24 years. We moved from North Carolina, a small little town where there was more hogs than there were people. We love the outdoors. We love boating, the water, very involved with our church, hiking. We have 3 grown boys, and just we love the area.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Melinda, anything to add?
Well, I mean, we've been married for almost 29 years now, so I mean, we have lived here most of our married life, so this is becoming like home for us.
Yeah.
So we really love the area. We are both in water and wastewater, so
Okay.
we have a weird connection to each other and to the area, but it just connects us more to nature too. But.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and so now y'all lead the chapter for NAMI.
Yeah.
How did you guys get involved in mental health advocacy?
Yeah. Want to start? Yeah. Okay. So our oldest son, Ryan, was diagnosed with schizophrenia about 10 years ago. And it was very, very challenging. We didn't really know what was going on. We heard the word schizophrenia, and we really didn't know that much about it.
Yeah.
Someone had also mentioned NAMI, and we knew that there wasn't a NAMI close by, so the closest one was Roanoke. And so to try to learn more about it, we went to the NAMI meetings up there.
Yeah.
We went to family support group. We went to an educational program called Family to Family. Very eye-opening, very impactful in how we dealt with our loved one that had mental illness. And so we wanted to, after we went through a lot of what others may be going through now, we wanted to be able to bring that to our community and to be able to help others the way that NAMI helped us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the biggest issues is, the family-to-family class, at the time it was 12 weeks. It is downsized to just 8 weeks now, but that was 12 weeks in a row that we had to drive to Roanoke every week.
That's a
So,
commitment.
it was a commitment, and it was, hard to do, especially with family being here and trying to find that time to go. So we would highly recommend it to people, but it's hard for people to be able to get away, especially when they're struggling already with trying to take care of someone. So we knew that something needed to be in this area.
And so the NAMI and then the family-to-family group, it's more peer-oriented versus being in a clinical setting with a psychiatrist or a counselor, or is there a little bit of both? Or
Right. So we're not counselors at all. We educate, advocate, and support. So the biggest thing that we do is help support the support group for the loved ones. A lot of what our family support group is parents of adult children that may have schizophrenia. So we help teach them how to better support their loved one, be able to find the resources they need, and be able to advocate for their loved one. So that's the biggest thing. We do have peer support where people that have recovered from are in recovery from mental illness are at a point in their journey where they can help support other people going through it. So there's that part of it as well. So we have the peer-to-peer as well as the support aspect of it.
Well, that's great. And I mean, it's a very compelling story. It's motivational to see that there was a real world impact on your life, and then you not only took the steps to help your own family, but now you want to help other people and bring that resource. And that's something we've talked about a lot at NCI when we talk about filling different gaps in the community. A lot of times we do find ourselves driving to Roanoke or Greensboro for these resources. And so I like seeing the grassroots effort to bring more things to our community.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And just kind of show a little bit about with Ryan as far as just a nutshell, so when he was diagnosed, it wasn't straight to recovery with him. He would, as many of them do, self-medicate, street drugs. He's probably used every drug known to man. He'd been have times of homelessness. He had walked to South Boston and back. A lot of visits in the hospital. We could probably write a book. But for him to get to where he was on drugs, hard drugs, homeless, to the point where now he is really doing very well, 180 degree. He's living on his own.
Wow.
He is doing a lot of things for himself now. He hasn't used drugs in probably 3 years. And he's really come a long way, and the support that NAMI is able to give was in part due to some of that.
Yeah, well, that's an excellent resource. Yeah, because I think a lot of times when we talk about mental health outside of anxiety and depression, things that are more commonly understood, at least I tend to think about like things like this happening to children, but it's a different dynamic when it's happening to an adult that's still your child. So that's great that he's been able to get the help he needs. Thanks to you guys and for sticking it out with him too, because I'm sure it was hard on everybody.
Yeah.
Well, he had a very normal childhood. I mean, he was very active, very popular, did everything that you would expect to have a normal kid, probably more so than our other two children. And so it didn't actually hit until he was about 20,
Wow.
when it really hit full.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's, typically it's when it hits somewhere between 18 and 20, early 20s, especially in, men, a little bit older for women. But, that's the problem is that, they can seem fine for so long and then it just hits all of a sudden out of the blue. And for parents, it's hard to communicate that and share that, and you feel like you're so alone because you don't know how to,
Right.
where you once bragged about all the accomplishments of your child, now you're sitting there having these stories to share about all the terrible things that they're doing, but it's not them that's doing it, it's the illness that's causing it. And to find people that actually understand that. So we just look at it as we can come together and have shared experiences so that we don't feel alone anymore.
Yeah.
Because you have trouble even finding people that really understand what we're really going through. And this has become a safe space that people can come together and understand. We share stories and, it's not so strange anymore. Like the other people are like, yeah, our child does that too. So that is part of it. That's normal.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's great to be able to provide that resource. Well, we are going to cut for a commercial break real quick, and when we come back, we're going to hear more from Mike and Melinda about the Martinsville-Henry County Chapter of NAMI. Welcome back to What's Happening at NCI. For those of you just now joining us, we are here with Mike and Melinda Ward. They are the founders of the Martinsville-Henry County Chapter of the National Alliance on Mental Illness, also known as NAMI. Mike and Melinda, before we cut to the break, we were learning a little bit about the two of you and how you became acquainted with NAMI, starting with the Roanoke chapter, which led you to starting one here, so we can have a resource like that in Martinsville. For our next section, can you tell us a little bit more about what the MHC chapter specifically offers to the community and how folks can get involved?
Yeah, sure can. So as Melinda mentioned, we have Family to Family right now. That's been running for about a year, and it's going really well. We would like to see it grow. We know there's more people, but we also we want to be able to offer, NAMI in general has a lot of programs, support and peer-led. So there's Family to Family, there's family support, there's peer to peer, and then there's a peer support called Connections. There's a Homefront course that we tried to do last year, and there just we weren't able to really advertise it properly, and we want to try to do it again. Homefront is for families of loved ones that are a veteran or a service member that may be experiencing PTSD or other military-related mental health issues.
Which is a very niche topic.
Yes, it really is. So that's one we really want to try to get off the ground, to get moving. those are just about 5 of the programs. There's a number of other programs, some geared more towards children. There's one that's NAMI Basics. It's a very basic 30-minute little intro, basically. It's geared more towards children, but it could really be done by anybody for anything, to really kind of give them a good intro. So there's a lot of, the NAMI website is tremendous. It's got a lot of resources on it. And we're hoping eventually to have our own chapter website as well. All we have right now is Facebook.
Yeah. Thank goodness for Facebook.
I know.
Yeah. For training, we actually have to be trained as facilitators. So we can't just have a class. We actually have to go through the training to get certified to do the class. And you can't just have one person, you have to have 2. So that's where it's becoming important to get more and more volunteers.
Yeah.
So we've been certified to do the family support group that we do every month. And we've been certified to do the family educational class. And we've been certified to do the home front. So that's the 3 that we're able to do. We also have a couple of our board members that have been certified to do a peer-to-peer class, but they're also looking to get the connection class, which is sort of the same thing as the family-to-family support that we have, but it would be just where peers could come.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that could happen at the same time that we have our family support group meeting. You know, we could all come together, support each other, talk, for a few minutes, and then separate out where
Into smaller
adults
groups.
go one place, the peers go to another group, and then we talk amongst ourselves about our separate issues, and then come back together for just the final thing.
Very good. So it seems like you guys are kind of looking for 2 different things. More participants, people that need access to those mental health resources for themselves or their loved ones, but then we also need volunteers.
Yes.
So if somebody was interested in being a facilitator, how does the training work? Like, what's the time commitment, that kind of thing?
It varies from program to program, but for the most part, it's done by Zoom over a whole weekend.
That makes it convenient.
Yeah, 8 hours on a Saturday, 8 hours on a Sunday, for the most part. Some of them are maybe a little bit shorter, depending on what it is. But for the most part, that's what it is. And we would want people to kind of interview to make sure we're not putting a square peg in a round hole.
Yeah.
Make sure it's a good fit. And then we would follow through with that individual and make sure they feel comfortable up until a certain point, and then we'll kind of let them do their thing. But
Very good.
United Way has kind of allowed us to go on their platform,
good.
Engage, we're going to try to put some advertisements out through that for volunteers.
Oh, good. Yeah, because they have like a volunteer portal,
They
right?
do, yeah. I think it's Engage.
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds right. That's good. Okay, great. So if somebody was interested, eventually you'll be involved with the Engage platform with United Way, but
Yes.
in the interim, they can message you on Facebook. Is that the easiest way?
Or
Or
email.
email?
Yeah.
What's your email?
It is NAMI MHC, I'm sorry,
NAMI 4.
NAMI4MHC@gmail.com.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. Well, that's good. And any other, before we wrap up for our second segment, any other things I'm missing out to share with the public about NAMI and what y'all offer or want to offer?
No, I think, the biggest thing, especially with this being Mental Health Awareness Month, we're trying to end the stigma and
Yes.
just trying to get more conversation. I know we've even talked to another individual in the community who, there's another program called In Your Own Voice, and she works with people just to kind of help people share what they've gone through. And so, we're hoping to get more conversations started so that it's not such a taboo topic anymore.
I think that's a great thing to do. I mean, because mental health, it touches everybody. And if you don't think it's touched your family, don't hold your breath because you never know what's going to happen.
1 in 5 people experience some sort of mental illness in their lifetime, and then 1 in 20 experience serious mental illness. So, it's prevalent.
Yeah, so there's
we
no
need-
point in judging. People just need access to resources like this because you never know when it could happen to you or your family, and you just never know what people are going through.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
That's the big thing.
Yeah, and the right support is what gets them through a lot of times.
Right, yeah.
Because usually the people we see fall through the cracks, it's usually because people don't understand. They think that they're doing something purposefully, and that they don't understand that it's actually the mental illness that's actually causing the defiance or the problem. Some people don't even realize that they have mental illness. That's a separate diagnosis in itself. And so they don't know how to ask for help, and they need people to, stand beside them, support them, and encourage them, and advocate for them.
Yeah. Bringing that compassion, but also just the normalcy. Like, we can get through this. There's a process. We're going to get you connected to resources and keep trucking.
That's right.
Well, great. Well, we will cut for another commercial break, and when we come back, we will discuss some exciting upcoming events with both NAMI and NCI. Thank you. Welcome back to What's Happening at NCI. Thank you again to Mike and Melinda Ward from MHC chapter of NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. We've talked a lot about mental health today. It's also Mental Health Awareness Month. That's the month of May. And so, Mike and Melinda, any events coming up this week for NAMI or this month, since it's a big month for mental health awareness?
Yeah, tonight we actually have our monthly family support group meeting.
Oh, great.
We meet at 7 o'clock at NCI, and we do that every month, the first Tuesday of every month. And so we'll be meeting tonight there. It's usually on the first floor. So that's a chance for anybody just to come out and see what we're all about.
And they can just pop in, or do they need to RSVP?
No, they can just pop in. We have plenty of room. We can find a bigger room if we need to.
Yeah.
And I think we're also planning on having a fundraiser. It's probably going to be the 1st of June, but it's like, we're going to be advertising pretty soon.
Oh, good.
At Checkered Pig, so that'll be just, a way to try to raise funds. So, we're a nonprofit, so anything that we raise will help us to get more education information out.
Awesome. Very good. Well, and as Melinda said, the NAMI classes that are held on the first Tuesday of every month are at NCI. That's at 191 Fayette Street in Uptown Martinsville. And I should also mention that NCI is hosting a free mental health resource fair tomorrow. That's Wednesday in the Martin Lacey Lecture Hall from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And of course, NAMI will be there, so you guys can meet Mike and Melinda. And we're thrilled to have y'all as part of the event. I know we got a number of vendors that are coming.
And thank you for inviting us. We're looking forward to it.
Absolutely. We wouldn't do it without y'all. It's great to have as many resources as we do in such a small community, but sometimes, you think people know about resources, but everybody lives busy lives. So this is a great place to have a one-stop shop. I think there's going to be some chair yoga, a wide variety of mental health resources that'll be available tomorrow. And in addition to the mental health fair and NAMI's support group, NCI has a number of classes coming up this month. This week we have our wind industry training. Basic safety is the focus. It's a refresher course. This Thursday, May 8th, Longwood at NCI, they're having their completion ceremony for the 2025 graduates in both the early childhood and elementary education bachelor's degree programs. That program is beginning at 5:30 p.m. and it'll be in the lecture hall at NCI. Starting Monday, May 12th, we have our next certified fiber optic technician class starting. And then that same week on Tuesday the 13th, Just Call Granny is having their next Conversations and Coffee meeting at NCI. In celebration of the Mental Health Awareness Month, their discussion is going to be focused on mental health for children and youth. And they're doing 2 separate sessions, a lunchtime at noon and then an evening session at 6 p.m. The Knights of Columbus is having their annual fundraiser at NCI this coming Saturday, May 17th, or no, 2 Saturdays from now. And then our next wind industry training for basic safety is going to be May 20th. So we've got a lot going on between y'all and NCI, particularly for Mental Health Awareness Month. But thank you guys again so much for coming today. Any final words before we wrap up?
We just would like to thank our partnership with NCI. It's been tremendous being able to be offered the classroom space at Baldwin and then the office space at King Hall.
Yes, we're happy to.
And we appreciate all the support that NCI has been giving us.
Yeah, we're glad to help bring an additional resource that's much needed in our community. So thank you guys for the work that you do.
Sure, no problem.
Thank you. And thank you to everybody for tuning in to the latest episode of What's Happening at NCI. We'll be back in a couple weeks with our next episode. Thank you.